Hello everyone and welcome to SkillCapped. I'm Notorious Dub and today I'm going to be going over one of the most satisfying and adrenaline pumping moments in Valorant that we all live for, clutching. Now let's be honest, most people lose clutches because they're just not sure what to do, and while clutching out a round does require raw aim, feel free to check out our aim guys on our channel, it's more about knowledge of the game and outmaneuvering your opponents. So now that you know what it takes to pull off a clutch, let's get into how to actually properly execute a clutch. But before we get into that, do you find yourself struggling to win gunfights? Are you a bit lost on what you should be doing in game? Or maybe you find yourself stuck at your current rank? Well, don't worry, as our brand new hyper improvement system is specifically designed to solve these problems. At SkillCapped.com, you'll finally learn how to improve your aim, different techniques to win gunfights, and so much more. We have professional courses on every single agent, map, and mechanic in Valorant. This is also backed by top pros, players, and coaches to make sure you're getting the most up-to-date and accurate information possible. In fact, we're so confident that you'll improve using our system that we offer a rank improvement guarantee. Check it out yourself in the link below, simply put in what rank you're currently stuck at and find out what rank you're guaranteed by using our system. So, what are you waiting for? Unlock your true potential and get the rank you've always wanted at SkillCapped.com. Link is in the description below. Now, this wouldn't be a clutch guide if I didn't go over whether or not you should clutch in a particular situation, so let's go over the basics of it quickly. So each round is different, and your odds of success are going to vary greatly. So you have to take into account how much control the enemy has of the map, how many are alive, when the bomb was planted, how far away from the bomb you are, and a plethora of other factors, and if the odds are just too tough, just save the gun. But if you like your odds and you want to go for the clutch or you just want that Reddit play, there's one thing you need to look at in particular. Will this gun allow you to buy the next round? If one or more of your teammates cannot buy a Vandal or Phantom and armor next round, then saving your gun this round increases your odds of winning the next round heavily. And in that situation, it's usually going to be worth it to just save the gun. But if you have enough money to buy next round anyway, you might as well go for it, because even if you get a kill and lose the round, you did economic damage to the enemy team and you can still buy the next round anyway. So now that we have the basics of when to clutch out of the way, I'm going to go over a few quick tips that you may or may not know that are going to be essential for clutching rounds and you need to have in your arsenal. So first of all, it takes 4 seconds to plant the bomb, meaning you have to be holding the plant before you see the 3 pop up on the timer. And if the enemy isn't planting before the 3 pops up, then you should turn and run as fast as you can to save your life and secure the round. Because the only way the enemy can win in that situation is to peek and kill you before the round actually ends. And then whenever you're defusing, you'll see a small circle pop up and start to close in around the bomb whenever the bomb is about to explode, about 7.5 seconds from exploding exactly. Whenever this happens, you'll notice 2 circles, a small circle that's always present around the bomb, and then a bigger halo-like circle that starts to close in around the bomb about 7.5 seconds before it explodes. And if you're not defusing before the second circle appears, then you don't have enough time to defuse. So use this to your advantage. On either side of the bomb, unless the bomb is already halfway, if you see the circle pop up and start closing in, it's time to leave the bomb site so you don't die and lose your gun for no reason. And this is one I cannot stress enough. Don't make noise after you fake the defuse. Once you start defusing and you're locked into that animation, you cannot make any audio cues. So whenever you get off of the bomb, you have to make sure not to make any audio cues there either, because the enemies will hear them and know you're not on the bomb and you've essentially just wasted your time, those valuable seconds that could lead to actually winning the round. And don't worry, pulling your gun out is actually silent to the enemies, so while you hear the sound, they won't. So hold your walk button, don't reload, and don't pull out an ability like your pop flash that makes noises. Next, ping the bomb for your teammates, or tell them to ping the bomb for you. If you're dead, your job is to make sure your teammate has a marker on the bomb at all times, even if they know where the bomb is planted or they're the one that planted it. It makes it so much easier to jiggle the bomb and see if they're defusing, perfect peek the bomb, wallbang the diffuser, or shoot through smokes to the bomb so you can actually clutch out the round. And finally, use all of your time. Now, this doesn't mean wait 30 seconds before entering the site and start clearing. The more time you have, the more you're able to isolate angles and work slowly to fully clear out the site while checking behind you and making sure you're not getting caught off guard. Now, if you have a good read on where the enemy is, then aggression is often going to be necessary and very useful, because you can push them and kill them before they actually have time to play footsies with you while you're tapping the bomb and hoping to hit a headshot. But if you don't know where the enemies are or enemy, then take your time and stay calm and clear everything properly. Alright, now let's get into some specifics. Clutches are usually based around protecting the bomb plant, defusing the bomb plant, or just getting the bomb down in general. And one of the most important things you can do to give yourself an edge is to plant for a purpose. Now, whenever you're going to plant the bomb, you should be thinking about where you're going to be playing before you even plant the bomb. And as a defender, you should be looking for the bomb and thinking about where they should be playing depending on where they planted the bomb at. From this understanding, you can start to do mix-ups and see mix-ups coming to really mind game your opponents. So let's jump in game and see what we're talking about. Now, the easiest map to understand this on is Seaside of Haven, because planting for long is one of the most common plants in the entire game. And a quick side note, if you're planting default, right here, when your team has control of the site, you're lowering your chance of winning that round for no reason. Now, why is that? As an attacker, you want to plant in a position where the bomb is visible to as many angles as possible. This allows you, as the person defending the plant, to have more angles and areas that you can actually play from. And it makes the defenders who have to defuse paranoid of more angles than they would originally have to be if you planted in a safe spot. So a better plant, and slightly more risky, would be all the way over here by plat because it's visible from long, garage, and CT, so there are no safe spots the defender can defuse from, and as long as you don't peek, the defender has to gamble on keeping watch of one of the 3 possible angles. And there are default spots like this for every map, but just remember, as an attacker, if you're safe whenever you're planting, you want the bomb to be visible from as many angles as possible, which allows you to get the jump on the defenders. And if you're a defender trying to retake, then you have to be able to pattern the enemies and isolate the angles accordingly. So let's go back to Seaside. The bomb gets planted and you walk from CT into garage and out onto the bomb site. At this point, you still have a good bit of time left. You should be looking for the bomb and making an assumption for where you think the enemy is playing. And from there, you can tap the bomb and bait them to peek, or just push them for the kill to secure the round. Every time when I come out of garage and see that it's planted for long, I'm going to be pushing down to catch the enemies off guard and go for the kill, and take the gamble that the enemy didn't manage to sneak into CT whenever I was going into garage. So as a defender trying to defuse, you should find the bomb and make a guess on where the enemy is based on where you came from, and what the easiest escape route for the enemy is, and based off of all of that, what is the easiest position to hold that bomb from when all of that is taken into account. And this brings me to the more general topic of identifying your enemy's position. So as an attacker planting the bomb, your job is to make assumptions on where the defender is located, and where they're going to rotate to based on the last time they were seen or what area of the map that player commonly plays. And as a defender, your job is to do the same but for the attacker, and make assumptions on where they could be playing. And knowing the most common plant angles is going to do most of your work for you. Now let's be honest, as a defender, most of the time you're just going to be guessing. You want to make it as educated a guess as possible, but you're still guessing. And from there, you want to be able to rely on your intuition, because the more you play and you get into these positions, the better your intuition is going to get in these specific scenarios. So all in all, you should view the round like a puzzle. Mentally map out where the enemies were and or are, the easiest rotation path to the area based on that, and their most likely locations to play or be based on that information. And mastering this skill will stop you from getting caught off guard in 1vx situations. Next up, I have to say, use your abilities. Now this is so important because so often I see Omens and Brimstones clutching around out or trying to with all of their smoke still available. Now even a smoke right in the middle of the bomb site gives you the ability to play around it and isolate angles more effectively. So if you're unsure where to smoke, do that. Or it's always great to smoke off the bomb as well. So the opponents start to get paranoid whenever the bomb gets tapped, and they spray down like absolute maniacs, and you can probably peek and get the kill off of that. And the proper places to smoke would be the areas that the enemies are most likely playing at, or smoke off one of the problem angles for you so you can clear the site more effectively before you actually have to deal with that angle. And with that, we need to talk about zoning abilities. If you've ever played League of Legends, you should already know about using abilities to zone enemies, intentionally or unintentionally, because it's the exact same thought process in Valorant as well. Now, while Phoenix, Brimstone, and Viper Mollies are specifically designed to zone enemies from entering or exiting an area, you can do the same thing with almost all other abilities as well. Say you're playing Bind. If you've narrowed the enemy down to playing A short after the plant, a raised nade in the entrance can buy you enough time to get the bomb to half. And while that one's obvious, you can do the same thing with satchel charges, the Roomba, breach flashes, and any other ability that the enemy has to deal with before they can peek out and try to get the kill. And I have to mention this as well, if the enemy gets nearsighted by an Omen flash, they actually can't hear you start to defuse. So if you smoke off the bomb, throw your paranoia, you have a very good chance of actually getting a ninja defuse off. But with that being said, all of these abilities allow you to at least get the bomb to half. And getting the bomb to halfway increases your odds of winning by a ton, because 3.5 seconds to get the defuse off and win the round isn't a lot of time for the attackers to actually make a play whenever you tap the bomb. So now that you know all of the basics of clutching, you have to make a plan. Now we all know by now that no battle plan survives contact with the enemy, but having a mental plan and a checklist ready is going to allow you to be more focused and more easily to adapt to the situation. Now on both sides of the map, you should be thinking about what angles you're going to be clearing and most worried about as you enter the bomb site. But as an attacker, you should also be thinking backwards about where the enemy is most likely going to be, where I should play based on that, and where I should plant based on that. And as a defender, you should make the decision on where you're going to retake from, where the enemy is most likely going to be playing, what angles are you going to be most worried about, if you have abilities, where and when are you going to use them. Now, all of these things are going to happen instantaneously during the round, so getting ahead and getting a grasp on all of the possibilities is going to allow you to act instinctually and rely on your plan and trust yourself to perform, which finally leads us to executing the clutch. Now, in most clutches, all of these factors and preparations lead up to the final 15 seconds of the round, where everything seems to happen in a split second, and worrying about the minimap, timer, possibilities, health bar, abilities, and everything else is too much to comprehend in that split second. Now, over time, you will get better and able to start comprehending all of these factors, but in this one clutch that's happening right now, you have to rely on your ability at the time. And this starts to get into the clutch mentality. Now, you have to understand that multitasking is a myth. Every stimulus that you focus on takes brain power away from others, and the only way to perform multiple tasks at once is if the task is second nature to you, and you can do it automatically. It's like walking and breathing. You've done them so much that you can do those things and more at the same time because you don't have to focus on them. But if you focus on breathing while you walk, it gets much more difficult to talk at the same time. It's the same thing as in Valorant. You talk to your teammates, you watch the minimap, you make your assumptions, but in that split second, focusing intently on one of those things is going to impact your performance. So make your preparations. But once you start to execute the clutch, let your mind go blank and trust yourself, because staying calm and trusting yourself is going to give you the best chance at finishing and clutching out that round. And remember, if you want to improve, win more gunfights, and get the rank you've always wanted, then check out SkillCapped.com. The link is in the description below. But all in all, I hope this video is helpful, and I hope it helps you clutch out some rounds and get that adrenaline pumping in some of those unforgettable scenarios. And make sure to let us know in the comments below what you want to see from us next. As always, we here at SkillCapped want to thank you for watching. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button with those notifications on, because we have a ton more comprehensive premium guides coming your way that you're going to want to stay up to date with so you can stay ahead of the pack. And as always, I want to thank you for spending this little bit of your day with us, and I'm Notorious Dub, signing off.